Ahead in the glasshouse, Justice Minister Chris Ellison reveals that any foreigners who don't look right will be forced to play kiss chasey with Amanda Vanstone.
And if you are caught, you will face severe penalties.
Jason Donovan's birthday. Someone wake him up. Welcome to The Glass House, the program that asks the question on World No Tobacco Day. Do potheads cut their doobies with nicotine patches? More news in the cold, dark hand of winter this week. But my favourite story comes from Iraq, where well-known underwear model Saddam Hussein has decided to write his memoirs. It's called How I Won the War. And critics are saying already, Saddam, good read. But it gets a bit boring after the fall of Baghdad. Day 29, still in a hole. In an effort to sell more copies, Saddam will also write about his early days as a student at Hogwarts and how he went on to become a champion Quidditch player. You know what this will lead to? Saddam Hussein, this is your life. Do you remember this voice? Ah, my genitals, they burn, they burn. Mum? In Florida, a legal row is brewing after a 5-year-old girl who threw a tantrum at school was hauled out of her classroom by police and taken away in handcuffs. But the cops did read her the pop-up book version of her rights. Surely there are better ways of controlling a 5-year-old. How about issuing officers with Brussels sprout spray? While angry with the police, the parents were also furious with the little girl, saying, "What have we told you about getting into strangers' cars in handcuffs?" Happily, when she was told she was going to jail, the 5-year-old was excited because she thought she might get to meet Michael Jackson. Corrine Grant!
Fashion news, Wilvin Klein. If you're feeling lonely, a company has developed a shirt embedded with sensors that can actually give you a hug. Components sewn into the fabric press on the skin and mimic a hug from your beau or a slap on the back from a friend. There are also electric blanket-style pads to stimulate the body heat of your chosen companion. And if they keep improving the technology, your shirt will become your chosen companion. The shirt transmits the hugs, pats on the back and even heartbeats over a mobile network, which now means you can feel someone up over the phone. Hello, is that Shane Warne? But the company says that the shirt is only a novelty and shouldn't replace real hugs. Also, too much hugging can harm your unborn child. Because when they come out, they'll be all long and squishy. Look, this hug technology sounds great, but what I think we all want to know is, when are they bringing out the underwear version? I want a hug in the pants!
Dave Hughes!
All right. I'm angry, guys.
Oh, you're angry.
I'm angry. Do you realise, as we speak, the International Whaling Commission convention's going on in South Korea? Yes, didn't you realise that?
No.
No, well, you do now, don't you? All right, and I tell you, there's countries like Japan are trying to get the moratorium, which is on commercial whaling at the moment, they want to get it lifted. That's ridiculous. Keep that moratorium. What are they thinking, the Japanese? One of their delegates said that, well, Australia, what would you think if we banned you eating kangaroos? Well, all right. If there's 80 million whales hopping around Japan, you're driving your bloody Sigma down the road and you run over one, then you can take it home and bloody barbecue it, all right? Seriously, we've got to look after our whales. I mean, you know, imagine the time where they're all extinct and we can only see them in aquariums. Imagine how big the aquarium's going to have to be. I don't like aquariums myself. There's one in Melbourne, all right, and what I don't like about it's got a fish and chip shop attached to it. Seriously, you don't go to the zoo and go for koala kebabs, do you? Bloody fish getting over, bloody, get on there.
All right, let's get to it. Joining me, Corrine and Dave, to throw some stones in the glass house tonight. He's won 6 Paralympic gold medals, and last month became the first person with a disability to ski at over 200 kilometres per hour. He is Michael Milton. And from the Nova Breakfast Show in Brisbane, that broadcasting babe, Michelle Laurie. All right, movers and shakers. First up, most of Europe. According to a new survey, the one thing that unites them is a strong dislike of the French. They're seen as rude, smelly, humourless and obsessed by food and sex.
Jesus, shit on French as!
It's just not true, said one Frenchman while rooting a loaf of garlic bread. Now, piss off! The British see the French as stubborn and chauvinistic. The Germans say they're pretentious and frivolous. The Spanish think they're vain, and the Swedes regard them as immoral and disorganised, as well as unsafe to drive and difficult to assemble. Corrine, you've been there. Do you hate the French?
I don't hate the French. I love the French. When I was over there, all the French men kept saying, "You are beautiful. Would you like to come back to my place?" And, you know, occasionally you would have to hit them off with a stick and run screaming down the street, but mostly I found it quite intriguing and quite lovely and a little bit flattering.
Are you a hater? Like, I don't think you hate anyone, do you? Do you hate a race? Is there anyone you would hate?
Do I hate a race?
Yeah.
Yes, Corrine. Which race do you hate?
As a matter of fact, I'm quite racist.
Of course you don't hate the French, but, like, some people hate, you know, other people.
Say you don't hate a race, if you're going to hate a race.
You hate to choose a race.
You hate a race or we kill your family, who would you choose?
Yes.
Yes, we've added a new game show element to the glass house.
Hate a race or kill your family.
What, New Zealanders? Come on.
No, my father's from New Zealand.
Well, that's a bit weird then. You're going to kill your own family and...
I'm surprised in that survey. The one word that I think of in French mixed together is arrogant. And it wasn't in that, but I think the Americans are a bit that way sometimes.
The Americans are arrogant.
They just... When you compete against them, you just have to hate them.
Well, what about as a Paralympian? Do you get discriminated against? Because...
I think, actually, when it comes down to it, one thing that's a little bit funny is that as somebody with a disability who perhaps could be discriminated against, that group of people with disabilities definitely discriminate against other people with disabilities. So just because you're a minority group doesn't mean that you don't discriminate against other people.
So what, do people with one leg, do you hate people with one arm? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, is there a stand-off between the amputees and the wheelchairs?
There are definitely some pretty, you know... There's some terms you use to describe people, you know. There's the blinkies, you know. The blind.
The blind are the blinkies?
The blind are the blinkies, you know. Right. There's the hoppies.
You're the hoppy?
Yeah, I'm the hoppy.
Yeah. Okay.
Then there's the...
What do people with one arm, are they the wankies?
Do people ask you... I realised when I was reading... And I've known you for a couple of years now. I realised when I was reading your information before the show, I'd never asked you what happened to your leg. And I think probably I was just... I don't know, maybe I thought it was impolite. Do people ask you or they don't ask you? How does that work?
I'm pretty open about it. It's not a problem. I had bone cancer when I was 9. It wasn't, unfortunately, a horrific shark accident or a psycho running down the street with a chainsaw who came off. Anything fun. But, I mean, there's plenty of people who do have acquired disabilities from fun stuff.
Yeah, you were unlucky. There's no...
Yeah, I know.
What I wonder about your kind of your terminology, hoppies and blinkies and stuff, is that cool for people who are outside of your circle to say those things? Like it's okay for African Americans to call each other niggers, but other people can't say that.
If I called you hoppy, what would you do?
I think hoppy would be okay because it's kind of a fun, natural term and stuff. I guess, you know, I call myself a cripple sometimes. It's a bit of a joke, and you know, have the cripple sticker on the car and that sort of stuff. But
Yeah, that's
Very good.
Love the parking sticker. It's, you know, I mean, there's many benefits of having one leg. Parking's, you know, the most obvious one.
Yeah.
You know, and then
is that park ever taken where you go, what the hell's going on here?
well, you see a guy in a Porsche in there, and you go, what's this cripple doing? What's his deal? But
He must have got good combo, that guy.
there's heaps of other benefits to having one leg, you know. There's a parking sticker, there's, you know, unique sexual positions that you can get into. I mean, access.
You were all thinking it.
Yeah.
What are some of them, Michael?
Well, you're talking about single leg amputees or double leg amputees, and male and female. I mean, there's all the different combinations you can have.
Let her think. She's just thinking.
My mind's boggling.
Michael's video will be coming out at Christmas. Our next movers and shakers are some of Australia's finest sportsmen who started a bit of a stink by admitting they take caffeine tablets. Wallaby captain George Gregan said the tablets were common in rugby and could help lift a player's performance by up to 7%. They also significantly decrease your chances of falling asleep during the game. So really, they should be taken by cricket players, not rugby players. So Australian Rugby Union stands for 43 beans in every cup, whereas Australian Rugby League stands for 43 players in every woman. But there are side effects to the pills. Halfway through a match, a player can often have the sudden urge to drive a truck to Perth. Michael, you're our sporting legend tonight. Are caffeine tablets bad?
I'd have to say no, they're not. In reality, the amount of caffeine we're talking about is no more than somebody would take in their usual day at work. What about your boss, who's on performance-enhancing coffee all day? It's no different to that.
I've had 3 energy drinks tonight.
Wow.
Are you testing your performance?
Wow. You are going off.
You should see him when he doesn't have any energy drinks. He's pretty much in a coma most of the time.
I am, it's true.
Well, what do you think about the idea of performance-enhancing drugs?
I think if a human is prepared to do that with their own body, then they should be able to do that. And we should have dirty games. We can have clean games, the Olympics, mamby-pamby, whatever. And then we should have the fun games.
Right, yeah.
Where it's just all on.
Right, yeah.
Where everyone's hopped up on human growth hormones.
Yes, yes, and I would watch those games.
So, Michael, can you tell you have used caffeine tablets? Sounds like to me that you've been on the old no-dose.
Personally, myself, I haven't used them. But in reality...
Do you need something to help you stay awake when you're going down a mountain at 200 kilometres an hour?
Not quite. I think there's enough natural stuff going on my body at that speed to keep me awake.
Can I ask about the actual skiing down the hill? Because you broke this record. Because what was the previous record and what's your record now?
The previous record which I held was at 198.68 kilometres an hour that I set last year.
Yep.
And then we bumped it up this year to just over 210.
That's a lot to bump it up. How did you do that?
And this is like downhill on one leg. Like, you know, it's just like I've seen you do this. How do you not snap? This is what I don't understand. How does it... No, seriously though, how do you not snap?
Well, you're going down this hill and it's pretty steep. You know, you start off, you do 0 to 100 in about 3.2 seconds.
Wow, that is quick. I swear to God, that is amazing.
That's Hughesy quick.
No, that is...
We're talking, you know, Formula 1 type acceleration.
Yeah.
So you're going pretty quick. But when you're down low, you're crouched in this aerodynamic position and you're cutting through the wind. You know, it's not this brick wall hitting the wind. So because you're cutting through it, you're minimising the amount of aerodynamic drag and you're cutting through it and going as fast as possible. When you feel it the most and when you feel you're going at your fastest is when you've got to stand up at the bottom to start slowing down.
Right.
Have you ever fallen over doing, you know, 200 kilometres an hour?
The fastest crash I've ever had is about 110, 120, somewhere in that sort of range. Although a buddy of mine this year, 3 weeks ago in France, had the 3rd fastest ever crash in the world.
Wow.
Whoa.
Two-legged guy, he crashed at 225.99. He went through the timing zone and then bit it at the end of the timing zone. Kiwi guy.
Yeah.
And we saw him in the hospital the next day. My girlfriend and I went to visit him and he's there. He's got no clothes on or anything because he's just bruised all over his face. It was just a mess. And he wound up not breaking anything, just concussion and stuff. And we walked in and my girlfriend's just going, oh, look at you, Russ. Look at the bruises. And I'm just going, yeah, brother, you're in the record books.
should sports people be able to take drugs that don't increase their performance? Just like, should they be able to go out on the weekend?
Well,
no,
yeah,
but like,
what is
I don't mean, but like
Happy
recreational drugs. Should an AFL player be able to smoke a joint? That's not going to help him, like, you know, play footy. He's going to be up in the stands eating pies. You know, it's like... I'm not saying that if they get caught, they shouldn't be punished, like, by the law, but should you get suspended for your sport if they drug test you?
Yeah, you probably should be suspended, I reckon. If you've done something illegal, you're bringing your sport into disrepute.
That goes back to your workplace too. That goes back to should you be able to be tested at any job?
Yeah.
So if you work at a bank, should you be able to pull bongs in the middle of the day?
Well, you're not serving people if you're working at a bank, so you might as well do something.
I played country footy and a guy I used to live with pulled bongs before the match. Teammate, and then tackled me across the line. I looked at him and said, mate, you're killing yourself, all right? He didn't even know that I was his best friend, Michelle.
Wouldn't you be furious if you were on his team?
I was on his team.
Our favourite movers and shakers are a couple from Atlanta, USA, who wanted a fairy tale Gone with the Wind-themed wedding, but they couldn't afford it. So they got local businesses to donate stuff in exchange for plugs during the ceremony and reception. The bride was the Taco Bell of the ball. The best man speech was sponsored by a car company. The father of the bride's speech was sponsored by the catering firm, and the awkward pauses and terrible jokes in the telegrams were brought to you by the 2005 Logie Awards. Michelle, you've walked down that aisle. Do you like the idea of wedding sponsors?
I do. I like the idea of anything free. I'm always up for free gear, even if stuff I've got, don't want. Because you can re-gift it. That's a great thing about free.
Absolutely.
I've got the present shelf in my home. Anything that's given to me goes on the shelf. Merry Christmas, Nan. That's... you know, I got married for $2,000, including my dress.
Wow.
Oh, nice work.
Yes,
now,
because...
how did you do that?
Well, because people... I didn't have any money, and I was a comedian, and my husband, Adrian's an artist, so we didn't marry for money. And... but we had very creative friends, and so friends gave us things as, like, a photographer took the photos as a gift, and somebody else, we got married in someone's nice house because they had a garden as a gift, and someone cooked the food as a gift, and it was kind of like
that. It is real love, though, a comedian and an artist marrying, because you've got two doll payments there and it's combined to one. Michael, when you got married, was it an expensive
I don't think
wedding?
he's married.
You're not married?
No, I'm not married.
But you mentioned a girlfriend before, didn't you?
Yes, I do have a girlfriend.
All right, so...
And we kind of, I guess you'd call it living in sin.
All right, so you haven't asked her?
No.
Why not?
How many...
Hey, don't put the pressure on him. I was serious.
She's out the back.
Yeah, but why not?
Well,
Let's get her out here.
We're not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
You're not ready. What are you waiting for?
How long's it been?
I think, you know, a lifestyle when I'm not 6 months overseas every year. And she's
because you are
Australia,
overseas 6 months, she needs that commitment.
Whose side are you on?
He's a stirrer.
Anyway.
I would just like to know, if you do pop the question, is it hard for you to go down on one knee?
I was going to say, back to the start of this discussion anyway, I think that when did marriage become so materialistic?
Yeah.
That they need to have a Gone with the Wind wedding over and sell their vows, sell everything in their wedding and almost sell their love for each other.
Yeah.
It's a bit
shouldn't
nasty,
it be?
isn't it?
Yeah, a wedding, as far as I'm concerned, my idea of a wedding is it's the one time in your life you get to both stand up in front of all your friends and publicly say what you say to each other privately. So it's like celebrating the
Get up
love.
and say, can you smell that fart?
All the mushy stuff that you...
Darling, I've written my own vows. I'm tired. Can we make it quick?
Later in the glasshouse, John Howard disputes the belief that being a citizen of Australia entitles you to actually live here.
I'm sick of that point of view.
Kevin Rudd admits Kim Beazley isn't quite the leader Labor was hoping for.
Obviously, there's been a stuff-up of the largest proportions.
And John Anderson reveals the National Party's new vote winner, his brain.
We've not needed to use it until now.
Tonight's question on the Glass House is, who is the most beautiful person in the world? Let's find some answers.
I'd have to say my wife, Samara.
Very boring.
Closely followed by our two boys. But, yeah.
Oh, my God. You'd say you're the most beautiful family in the world.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
No, but what, you're not including yourself. Do you let the team down, do you?
I do, regularly.
Who is the most beautiful person in the world?
I don't know. Not you.
Not me. All right, I appreciate that.
Luke Vogels.
Luke Vogel's the Sydney Swans footballer.
Yes.
A boy from country Victoria who's just come up to the big league.
Yep.
Do you know him personally?
No, I just know he's beautiful.
Well, he'd be wrapped. He was milking cows last year. Who's the most beautiful person in the world?
Well, apart from my sons, how about Wil?
Wil Anderson.
Yes.
You find his...
I find him very cute.
What would you like to say to Wil? He's probably watching.
Wil, you're pretty cute.
All right, who's the most beautiful person in the world?
My grandmother, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it?
Isn't that nice?
My girlfriend.
You are...
She paid me to say that.
You are beautiful. Well done.
Sure.
Who do you think's the most beautiful person in the world, apart from your boyfriend, who's obviously hot?
Yeah, he makes me moist.
Makes you moist. We'll move on, I think. All right, who's the most beautiful person in the world?
Oh, I think Nicole Kidman is.
Oh, yeah, you like Nicole, you like her sense of style.
Yeah, and her legs.
You like her legs.
In bad news for bikini lovers, after 12 months as Miss Universe, Australia's own Jennifer Hawkins has hung up her sash. Now who's going to bring world peace? It's a scary prospect because we know nothing about the girl who's going to be running the universe next. It's been quite a ride. Just days after being crowned, Jen found herself in the company of Richard Gere, who she loved in Chicago, and Kofi Annan, who she loved in Driving Miss Daisy. Husey, I would like your help. I want you to be our ex-Miss Universe.
Sure. Right. Where does this one go?
You might have to move it down below your microphone too.
Oh, no, for God's sake. It's so hard being beautiful.
Don't look at me like you're hurt.
I'm not looking, I'm looking thinking, you know, you're blonde, but you're not me, are you?
Husey, I'd like your help. I want you to be our ex-Miss Universe.
Right,
and
yeah.
we're going to interview you.
Sure.
First question, Jennifer Dave. What are you going to do now?
What am I going to do now? I think the Wollongong show's coming up, so they're looking for a showgirl.
Really? Do you have any skills outside of being Miss Universe?
Outside of being incredibly beautiful.
Yes, outside. Something a little bit more practical, perhaps.
Yes, I can. I make a nice cup of tea. Yeah.
That's it?
And toast.
Do you have any beauty tips? Like, I've heard that beauty queens smear Vaseline on their teeth.
Yeah.
Do you do things like that?
I smear it somewhere else. Now, if that's dirty, that's in your mind, all right?
Oh, sorry, Jennifer. Where did you mean you smeared it?
I meant on my groin area. Just, but for when I'm chafing! You know, you're beautiful doesn't mean you don't chafe.
Can I actually, on that subject, can I ask a very girly question?
Yes.
Because you do wear a lot of bikinis.
I do.
How do you keep your bikini line in check? Do you, like, electrolysis or shave or wax, or what do you do?
I do burn-offs. Every 6 months I ring up the CFA and get them over. They do a great job. Good on you guys.
I hope the wind doesn't change.
Yes, that can be.
Can I ask about the whole Miss Universe thing? I always see the competition. You seem to only compete against people from Earth. Have you ever competed against someone from another gala? Yeah?
Paris Hilton wanted to be in it one year, and who knows where she's from?
That's a good point. Can I actually ask, as Miss Universe?
Yes.
Obviously, you are the overlord of the universe.
Yes.
Can you explain to me, because there's been quite a bit of conjecture about this for a long time.
Just get to the point, all right?
Jennifer's angry.
Is the universe expanding or shrinking.
Is it expanding or shrinking?
Yes.
Depends whether it's using a personal trainer or not, because if it is, it certainly should shrink with a personal... But then again, depends whether it's enhanced by plastic.
Did you just get to the point?
I don't know. I'm beautiful. Who gives a shit about science? Honestly.
You are.
Now, your sash over your right shoulder really shows off your best side. What do the girls do when it shows off their bad side?
What, you're saying I've got a bad side?
No, the other girls.
What do they do? I don't care about the other girls. I couldn't give a shit. I'm the only one I look at.
No, you're a
you
real
wear-
snappy woman.
Yeah, she's a lot angrier than I thought.
I've just had the universe taken off me, all right? How would you feel?
Do you wear your sash all the time?
Oh, yeah, I don't know how to get it off.
Well, that's the way it is for Wednesday, June the 1st. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michael. And let's take a look at tomorrow's headlines. The Daily Telly has John Howard stands by refugees switch. Turns electric fences to on. The Ottawa Sun reports Oliver Stone caught drink driving. Also suspected of drink directing on Alexander. According to the Hobart Mercury, Indonesia agrees to prisoner exchange. Chappelle Corby to serve sentence in Big Brother house. And The Age reveals Graham Kennedy buried in accordance with last wish, with his blank sticking out of the coffin. Good night!
If you live in the Sydney area and you'd like to be in the audience for the Glass House, call 02 9383 4741 tomorrow.
That number again.
02 9383 4741.